to say this right now in the officially released discography of Frank, I don't think there is a bad guitar solo. Um, there are some that I like. Obviously, there's I like some more than the other. That's why this list exists. But to say there's a bad one, I'm not sure there is. And I made this list, and I was like, oh, but I left this off. But I left this off. But I left this off. Oh no! But hard decisions have to be made. And before you get mad, Willie the Pimp is number 11, so it's not on this list. I am sorry, but onto the list. Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I'm Shaggy, the opinionated hippie. Elsewhere on this channel, I've just finished ranking and reviewing every single Zappa album released while he was alive, all 55 of them. And before I move on to the post life releases, all 47 of those that I'm going to discuss, I'm going to wring as much out of these early releases as possible. And this is my top 10 guitar solos from the officially released Zappa albums. Before I get into the top 10, I want to say that I've categorized three different types of Frank solos. There are your typical song solos that we're all familiar with. There's a verse, chorus, or there's a song, and then a solo takes place, and then we go back into the song. Your typical within a song solo. That's what these 10 are. These are my favorite 10 solos that exist within the context of another song. Frank, in his discography, if you're familiar with it, would take solos out of songs and release the solos as standalone tracks. On Shake Your Booty, there's a song called Rattamago, which is simply a guitar solo from The Torture Never Stops. You don't get The Torture Never Stops, the front or the end, you just get the guitar solo. On the Shut Up and Play Your Guitar series, all three of the title tracks are Inca Road solos. You don't get Inca Roads, you just get the solos. So I'm not reviewing those because Frank has released those throughout his discography, and he has Shut Up and Play Your Guitar and guitar during his life, and then afterwards he has Transfusion, which are simply guitar solos. I'm going to do a separate video that addresses all those. Thirdly, he also has solos that there's not many of these. Well, there are in a lot of the ZF, the post-life, post-death releases, not many beforehand, in which Frank would play these really long songs, like King Kong, Pound for a Brown, things that I call monster songs that had a lot of improvisational elements and different band members got a chance to shine. And whenever it came Frank's turn to solo, a lot of times those songs kind of were just reinvented. Like on the Make a Jazz Noise here, you can hear at the end of When Yuppies Go to Hell, the song Fire and Chains. That officially is a part of the When Yuppies Go to Hell, which is actually a Pound for a Brown on the Bus, desiccated in Pound for a Brown on the Bus. But it's given its own track, though that solo came out of a Pound for a Pound on the Bus in the live context. Same with the Star Wars Won't Work solo. That came out of another song. Frank just released it as its independent track. I am including those in this list, those sort of monster song solos, though, spoiler alert, none of them make this list. So anyways, these are my top favorite 10 solos within the context of a song in Frank's officially released career. Number 10, Any Kind of Pain off Broadway the Hard Way. This is about a 2-minute solo. It's using his really clear, unaffected, effected sound. I think Frank would like, it was the guitar directly into the board or directly into the speakers. There was no effects to like alter it. It's a really clean, kind of crystallized sound. This solo is just so carefully paced and kind of not slow, but there's a lot more space than normal. And it's not one of his most like frantic. It's just like so perfectly 2 minutes of just perfect, like soft jazz. Like Any Kind of Pain almost sounds like a late era Steely Dan song, like a Gaucho song. Like you could have heard that on Gaucho. And it's got that kind of solo where it's just kind of breezy, and it's still obviously Frank, and it's undeniable his sort of runs that he makes and, you know, the way he phrases things, but it's just has a kind of a laid back quality, and both the rhythmic accompaniment by Wackerman and Thunis is perfect. Tunis. But it's just a perfect solo that fits so well in the song. And like I've heard other Any Kind of Pains from this tour. This one is shortened. Frank did edit out a little bits here, but he did so well. And I've heard other Any Kind of Pains, and not all the solos work this well. This one just works so perfectly. That was number 10. Number 9, What's New in Baltimore from Frank Zappa Meets the Mothers of Prevention. This is Frank's most patriotic solo. Like, it almost sounds like the video would have, like, I don't know if anybody here was alive when TV would go off the air at midnight. It wouldn't come back on till like 5 in the morning. And in Southern California, they would show a picture of Iwo Jima, I think was a common image, but it would be the American flag, or be soldiers planting that flag, and then they play like music, patriotic music over it. Frank's solo, this solo could be played over that. It has this build to it. It's about 3.5 minutes long. It's just, the runs are great. Frank his phrasing is a little more traditionally rock. Like, it sounds like the end of a Styx song, or the end of like something Bruce Springsteen would do at the end of, like, something on Born in the USA, if he was going to indulge in a guitar solo. But it just has this like churning, patriotic, you want to just like salute and wave the flag, even though I know Frank is not intending that, but in a way he kind of is, I think. But it's just one of the Frank's best solos. Just phenomenal, and it kind of makes that album. Number 8, The Evil Prince off You Can't Do That on Stage Volume 4. This is another one of those solos. Frank, every once in a while, like, Frank played a different solo every time, so like every Evil Prince has a different solo. Frank never played the same solo twice. He didn't have like a pre-planned solo that, if you go see Pink Floyd, David Gilmour's solos in Time are always the same solo. Frank never did that. This is one of those Evil Prince solos in which it sounds like it was pre-written. Like, the interactions with the band, the phrasing, the way it builds, it almost seems like this was the way it was always intended to be. Like, this is it. When Frank released this, he did a great job of finding the perfect solo to release. Maybe it's because I've listened to it so many times that it all just makes perfect sense, like where he starts and where he gets to. But it is one of those solos where you like, it's definitely a part of the song. The melodies of the solo like contribute to the overall power of the song. And one of my favorite parts is the lyrics at the end of the solo normally are "hold on to that dollar a little while longer," in reference to what the song is about. This solo ends with Frank, and I think all the Evil Prince solos end with this, but if I'm not mistaken, so if he does release more, it's going to be the same thing. But in the live context, Frank would end the solo by holding and bending the G string, and so Ray White would then sing "Hold on to that G string a little while longer" as he came back in, which I just think is neat. Number 7, Pygmy Twilight on You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, Volume 2. This is a completely different Pygmy Twilight than the one on the Roxy and Elsewhere. It is much slower. It is much heavier. It's like a hard rock, almost metal version. The solo is about 3.5 minutes long, and the interplay between George Duke, Chester Thompson in particular, and the way that like the give and take, and Frank's phrasing, and then Duke would kind of phrase, and then Chester would kind of spur them on somewhere. This is just one of his heaviest solos. It's just got some great kind of, even when they return to the song and like get back to like the proper structure, Frank's still kind of soloing over those parts and just kind of hitting some really heavy like power chords. And it's a really heavy, blistering rock and roll metal in your face type solo. Kind of looks ahead to like 81 and 82 when the Vi influence would really take over. But the song version of this song and this solo are just phenomenal. And really, I think the power of this solo is just made so much better by the band. Fowler on bass, Thompson on drums, Duke's accompaniment, just phenomenal. Just the whole package is incredible. Number 6, Zombie Wolf off Overnight Sensation. Overnight Sensation. 2 minutes of just pure nastiness. Just nasty. That's it. It's just Frank being nasty. A lot of string bending, and you can see he's using that whammy bar or pushing on the bridge to like get those notes to bend, and it's just crazy noises. A lot of just attacking the guitar. Like he he can't do this solo on any other instrument. This is one of those solos where Frank has to have the guitar because he's got to be able to bend those strings and play with that bridge and use that whammy bar or whatever it is he's using. I mean, it's just an aggressively ugly but perfect, like zombie wolf-esque, like function meets form, like it's perfect. It fits the song so well. Zombie Wolf, overnight sensation. Number 5, The Black Page, number 2, off You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore, volume 5. 7+ minutes of chaos. Just chaos. So you get the Black Page number 2, and then you get that Them or Us vamp, the dun-dun, and then all this space where Frank just fills it with crazy notes. This one has the vamp. There's a loop that gets played, a pretty ferocious guitar loop. Another loop gets added midway through it. The vamp picks up more dun-dun, dun-dun, it kind of multiplies as it goes, and then it gets completely abandoned. And then the song Which One Is It off guitar, that is from the middle of this solo when you think it's about to fall apart, and then Frank just like just ups it up again. And it just feels like at any moment it's just going to fall apart into utter madness. The drums are all over the place, the bass, there's keyboard noises. It's chaos in the middle of one of Frank's hardest to play songs. Like the contrast between the difficulty of the Black Page and the complete aural assault of this solo. And it's just sort of like madness is just one of Frank's greatest moments. Black Page 2 and all of the 82 had these amazing solos. Them or Us off Them or Us is another example of one of these solos, and it will be on my not in a song list video. But anyways, phenomenal. Black Napkins off Zoot Allures, just over 2 minutes of utter fierceness. This is a shortened version of a longer solo, but again, Frank edited it well. Must give mad props to Bosio on this. Bosio's drumming is just otherworldly. I think Bosio helped push Frank to much greater heights because he was such an amazing drummer. Shout out to Roy Stroud on bass. But really, it's Bosio. Again, this is an almost perfect solo. Just 2 minutes of just Frank at his absolute best. The 75, 76 tour leaves a little to be desired because of the song selection and the band, and there wasn't all that much craziness. But the guitar playing on these tours is Frank at just his like meanest and his fiercest and just like his most attackingest, if that's a word, and it's not. But almost perfect, the Black Napkins. Off Zoot Allures. Number 3, Sinister Footwear, the second movement off Them or Us. 2.5 minutes, again, of 81, 82 nastiness. Frank was really aggressive during these years. It seemed like everything he had taken from Adrian Belew and everything he had taken from Steve Vai, he combined into this new just, I'm going to play guitar, I'm going to make noise, I'm going to bend strings, I'm going to get ugly, I'm not going to be afraid of doing anything. The best part of this is there is this really cool like keyboard sort of do kind of ascending and descending progression that kind of sets up the vamp, and the vamp is very like dun 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 dun, like it has these like very like spaced out beats that go over the course of like several bars. It's a long vamp, and it kind of establishes itself for about, I think, about 10 to 15 seconds before Frank just like tears into it. Like he gives it room to breathe and develop before he just starts attacking. And it's 2.5 minutes of just relentless, in your face Frank, and the phrasing is perfect and it all makes sense. And again, the band's accompaniment is perfect. And then to follow by the rest of the song, which is all these labyrinthy, really kind of Escher-esque runs, to just have such beautifully played music, perfectly played music, and to have this solo in the middle, which is on the verge of chaos again. 81 and 82 were, I think, Frank's most chaotic years as far as guitar solos went. It just is perfect. It makes the solo stand out even more. Number 2, Inca Roads off You Can't Do That on Stage, Volume 2. This is the solo on One Size Fits All is the same solo as this, only shorter. by about a minute. Frank has edited out a minute. A lot of it coming at the end of the solo. So that moment where it jumps into the da-na-na, where the I can't sing, but where it jumps into that sort of post solo like run where there's Napoleon's kind of singing the na. Before it ends, there's another like he kind of brings it down a little. He gets like gets kind of all trilly. He has a little more space in it before he goes back into that. There's a couple moments throughout the solo where Frank's only taking out like 10 to 15 second little intervals. So this is the full length solo from the One Size Fits All, and it's just better. I think the longer it is, it just gives it more time to develop. It gives it more flavor. It doesn't end as soon, which is always a good thing. And again, having such improvised genius, one time only improvised genius in the middle of such elaborately and well played pre-written material just again makes the solo stand out even more. And my favorite all-time Frank solo in his officially released output is The Torture Never Stops off You Can't Do That on Stage, Volume 1. Almost 8 minutes. It's like 7 minutes and 50 seconds long. And it is just a torture solo. So Rattamago is a torture solo. There's a bunch of these on Halloween 77. There's a whole bunch released throughout Frank's, from almost every era. We have a torture solo. This is the best. It chugs along like a freight train, and there are moments when it seems like Frank's going to call it quits, and somebody in the band, Patrick O'Hearn on bass, Bozzio's drum, Frank himself, it's like they reach forward like, no, we're going to keep going, don't stop, and then it just chugs forward, and it just has this like, you can feel them like not want to end this. And there are a couple times where maybe they're going to wrap it up and just their momentum keeps them going. And like Frank just digs in and just like, I said this on my video for my favorite tracks off the stage thing. I know every time I listen to this that this is going to be my favorite solo. And every time I listen to it, it surprises me at like how many pockets of like, little pockets of like he starts off here and then he kind of goes into this territory and then he kind of shifts here and now we're going here, and there's all these like little islands of just amazingness all strung together into like almost 8 minutes of pure guitar playing. Bozzio on drums, Patrick O'Hearn on bass. You can't beat them as a rhythm section. I think I've decided that they might be my favorite rhythm section as far as Frank guitar, or Bozzio might be my favorite drummer as far as Frank solos go. It seemed to bring out something in Frank. Him and Chester Thompson. I can't decide. I'm not going to do that right here. But anyways, yeah, that is my favorite solo. It's just phenomenal. It makes the entire stage series worth it. He put the best song from the stage series on the first disc. Frank, why'd you do that? But anyways, that's it, man. Yeah, those are my top 10 solos in songs from Frank's officially released output. I'm going to now make my list or what is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. I'm going to complete. I already have the list, but now I'm going to make sure that it is correct of the songs that guitar solos that only exist as guitar solos. But anyways, that's it. If you have a favorite guitar solo I did not mention, such as Willie the Pimp, I know that's number 11, not number 10. But if you have others, let me know, because I'm always looking to appreciate more. And I'll say this, every single guitar solo he has, I don't think he's released a bad one, to be honest, in his officially released output. There are some weaker ones in the ZFT stuff, only because there's live shows, and some of them are like, oh, he didn't quite achieve what he wanted to do. In the officially released output, I'm not sure there is. But anyways, I'm not going to make that list because we're here to love the music, not hate on it. Anyways, that's it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, because apparently if you subscribe, more people get access to this, the way the algorithms work. And hey, let's spread the love. Let's share the love, you guys. All right, take care. Peace, y'all.